Antarctica. The name conjures images of a pristine, icy wilderness, a land of towering glaciers, vast ice shelves, and endless white landscapes. But this frozen continent, once thought to be untouched by the changing climate, is undergoing a startling transformation. Antarctica is turning green. What was once a monochrome world of ice and snow is now showing splashes of color. Green moss and algae are spreading across the land, taking advantage of the warming temperatures and increased meltwater. This phenomenon, far from being a positive change, is a stark warning sign of the profound impact of human activity on our planet. This greening of Antarctica is not a gradual, subtle process. It is happening at an alarming rate, with visible changes occurring over just a few decades. Scientists are now observing plant life flourishing in areas where it was previously absent or scarce. This transformation is a clear indication that climate change is taking hold even in the most remote corners of our planet. The evidence of Antarctica's greening is compelling and comes from multiple sources. Satellite imagery, painstakingly analyzed over decades, reveals a clear pattern of increasing vegetation cover. This data shows that the area covered by moss and algae has expanded significantly, particularly in the Antarctic Peninsula, which is warming faster than any other region on Earth. Scientists have also observed a dramatic increase in the growth rate of existing moss banks. These ancient colonies of moss, some dating back thousands of years, are now growing at a rate never before recorded. Core samples taken from these moss banks provide further evidence of the accelerating pace of change, with layers of recent growth significantly thicker than those from previous centuries. The data paints a clear and alarming picture. Antarctica is experiencing a rapid increase in plant life driven by the warming climate. The continent's icy grip is loosening, and the consequences of this transformation are far-reaching and potentially devastating. The driving force behind Antarctica's greening is undeniably climate change. As greenhouse gas emissions continue to rise, global temperatures increase, and Antarctica is on the front line of this warming trend. The continent is warming at a rate twice the global average, with the Antarctic Peninsula experiencing the most dramatic temperature increases. This warming trend has a number of significant effects on the Antarctic environment. Firstly, it leads to increased melting of glaciers and ice shelves, creating more liquid water available for plant growth. Secondly, warmer temperatures create more favorable conditions for plant life to thrive, with longer growing seasons and milder winters. Furthermore, the warming climate is causing changes in wind patterns and precipitation. These changes can bring more nutrients to the surface of the land, further fueling plant growth. The combination of these factors creates a perfect storm for a greening Antarctica, a phenomenon that is likely to accelerate in the coming decades if climate change remains unchecked. The pristine environment of Antarctica is home to a unique and fragile ecosystem. For millennia, life here has adapted to the extreme cold, limited sunlight, and nutrient-poor conditions. The rapid increase in plant life, while seemingly a positive change, is disrupting this delicate balance with potentially devastating consequences for the continent's native species. One of the most immediate concerns is the impact on the Antarctic soil. The continent's soil is naturally low in nutrients and organic matter. The increased growth of plants, while adding organic matter to the soil, can also alter its pH and nutrient balance. These changes can make the soil less hospitable to native plant species, giving an advantage to invasive species better suited to the changing conditions. The increased vegetation can also impact the nesting and foraging grounds of native animals, such as penguins and seals. As the landscape changes, these animals may struggle to adapt, leading to declines in their populations. The delicate web of life in Antarctica is being disrupted, and the long-term consequences of this disruption are still uncertain. Section 5. Newcomers threaten Antarctica's fragile ecosystem. The greening of Antarctica is not just about the expansion of native plant life. It also opens the door for non-native species to gain a foothold on the continent. These invasive species, often carried by wind, sea currents, or even unknowingly by humans, pose a significant threat to Antarctica's fragile ecosystem. Invasive species can outcompete native plants for resources, alter habitats, and introduce diseases. Once established, they can be extremely difficult to eradicate. The increasing human presence in Antarctica through tourism and research activities increases the risk of unintentional introductions of invasive species. The potential for invasive species to wreak havoc on Antarctica's ecosystem is a serious concern. Scientists are working to monitor and manage this threat, but the best defense is to prevent the introduction of these species in the first place. This requires strict biosecurity measures and a commitment from everyone visiting or working in Antarctica to protect its pristine environment. Section 6. The global impact of a greener Antarctica. The changes happening in Antarctica might seem a world away from our everyday lives. However, the reality is that what happens in this remote continent has profound implications for the entire planet. Antarctica plays a crucial role in regulating global climate and ocean currents, and the changes occurring there will have far-reaching consequences. One of the most significant concerns is the impact of melting ice on global sea levels. Antarctica holds the vast majority of the world's freshwater ice. As temperatures rise and this ice melts, sea levels will continue to rise, threatening coastal communities around the world. Furthermore, the changes in Antarctica's ecosystem can disrupt global food webs. The Southern Ocean surrounding Antarctica is teeming with life, supporting a diverse range of marine species, many of which are crucial to the global fishing industry. Disruptions to this delicate ecosystem can have cascading effects throughout the world's oceans. Section 7. The urgent need for climate action. The greening of Antarctica is a stark reminder that climate change is not a distant threat. It is a present reality with tangible consequences, even in the most remote corners of our planet. The changes occurring in Antarctica should serve as a wake-up call to the urgent need for global action to combat climate change. We can no longer afford to ignore the overwhelming scientific evidence. The time for debate is over. We need decisive and immediate action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, transition to renewable energy sources, and protect our planet's natural systems. The future of Antarctica, and indeed the future of our planet, depends on the choices we make today. We have a collective responsibility to act now to mitigate the worst effects of climate change and preserve the natural world for future generations. Section 8. Antarctica, a warning from the bottom of the world. Antarctica, a continent once shrouded in mystery and ice, is now sending us a clear and urgent message. The greening of this pristine environment is a visible and undeniable sign that our planet is in peril. It is a warning that we can no longer afford to ignore. The changes occurring in Antarctica are a stark reminder that climate change is not a distant threat, but a present reality with far-reaching consequences. We are witnessing the unraveling of a delicate ecosystem, a microcosm of the larger crisis facing our planet. The time for complacency is over. We must heed the warning from Antarctica and take immediate action to address the root causes of climate change. Our collective future depends on it. Section 9. International cooperation, key to protecting Antarctica. Protecting Antarctica from the impacts of climate change requires a global effort. No single nation can address this challenge alone. International cooperation is essential to implement effective conservation measures and reduce greenhouse gas emissions on a global scale. The Antarctic Treaty System, signed by over 50 nations, provides a framework for international cooperation in Antarctica. This treaty designates Antarctica as a natural reserve dedicated to peace and science. It prohibits military activity, encourages scientific research, and promotes international cooperation in managing the continent. Strengthening the Antarctic Treaty System and ensuring its effective implementation is crucial to protecting Antarctica. This includes enhancing measures to prevent the introduction of invasive species, regulating tourism and research activities, and promoting sustainable practices in all aspects of human presence on the continent. Section 10. Our collective responsibility to future generations. The future of Antarctica, and indeed the future of our planet, lies in our hands. We have a moral obligation to act as stewards of the Earth and protect it for future generations. The legacy we leave behind will be judged by the actions we take today. We must embrace a vision of a sustainable future, where economic development and environmental protection go hand in hand. This requires a fundamental shift in our values and priorities, away from short-term gain and towards long-term sustainability. Our children and grandchildren deserve to inherit a healthy planet, one where they can marvel at the wonders of nature, including the icy majesty of Antarctica. Let us act now to ensure that this is the legacy we leave behind. Section 11. A call to action, safeguarding our planet's future. The time for action is now. We must all do our part to address the climate crisis and protect our planet. Each and every one of us has a role to play in creating a more sustainable future. Reduce your carbon footprint by making conscious choices in your daily life. Support businesses and organizations that prioritize sustainability. Use your voice to advocate for policies that promote renewable energy, protect our environment, and combat climate change. Together, we can make a difference. Let us act with urgency, determination, and hope to safeguard our planet's future for generations to come. The fate of Antarctica, and indeed the fate of our world, hangs in the balance.